I'm Barb, Meeple PhD, and I am counting through my favorite 50 games of all time. I went through my collection, added a few that aren't in my collection, and ranked them all to see which ones are my favorite. And we are continuing right now with numbers 40 through 31. So let's get going. My number 40 is the Isle of Cats. This is a card drafting and polyomino placement game where you are saving cats from an island and piling them into your ship. The theme is maybe a little silly, but I don't care because I love the idea of cats being these weird polyomino shapes because that's what cats are. Throughout the game, there is a drafting phase where you are getting cards into your hand, but you have to pay for them using fish, which is the currency in this game, which is super charming. And then you are playing out cards during various phases and collecting cats, again, using fish as your resource to do it, and then placing them on your ship, trying to get different families of cats together to score bigger at the end of the game, but also trying to fill up the ship as much as you can because you get negative points for any rats that are left over or for any rooms that you haven't completely filled up. So this one is just a super fun combination of a couple of mechanisms that I really like, and that's why Isle of Cats is my number 40. My number 39 is Gizmos. This is a super charming game where you are building up machines in front of yourself using marbles from a hopper, drawing them either from the hopper or maybe from a line where you can see what color you're getting, in order to build different machines, but then chaining together the different machines that you build and activate in order to do more things on your turn. The theme is that you are doing some kind of science fair or something, which makes the art really charming. It's really silly, different machines that you might be building. But it's super elegant. Each player has this board in front of them that shows you the possible actions. And as you build a machine, you build it below the action that can trigger that machine or be enhanced by that machine. And so it really comes together in this very smooth experience. And throughout the game, you'll have a few turns where you're just triggering this and then that and then this and then that. And it's so satisfying in such a kind of simple package. So for those reasons, Gizmos is my number 39. My number 39 is Pret-a-Porter. This is a game where you are a fashion designer, developing collections and showing them at various shows across the world. It's a fairly crunchy game for the theme, which I love. In this game, you are doing worker placement, but you're doing it in a slightly different way than just placing a thing and doing the action. First, everyone places out their workers, and the order that you place them on the different spots is the order that you'll get to activate them. What I really like is that this means you can gamble a little bit and say, well, I know I want to do this action. I don't think my opponents want the thing that I want, so I can go there a little bit later and snag a different action at a slightly better level than everyone else is going to get. And sometimes that pays off really big, and sometimes it doesn't, but there's always something that you can do and get from that location. And then you're trying to manage all of your resources, getting your collection together so that it has the same theme running across it, but also matching what the specific city is looking for. You're also building up your little empire with retail stores and hiring employees. And there's a lot that comes together in this game that I really love. It's sometimes hard to get to the table because it is such a big game, but whenever it does, it is such a satisfying experience. So for those reasons, Pret-a-Porter is my number 38. My number 37 is Carnival of Monsters. This is out and out, just a card drafting game, and I love it. Each round, you are drafting cards to lay out new lands that you're going to explore and then placing out monsters into those lands. Some of the monsters come with danger, and so at the end of each round, you'll need to roll these dice to see how many cages you need to have in order to capture those monsters, and maybe taking some penalties. But it is such a fast-paced game The art is super cute, and it's just one of the mechanisms that I love in its purest form, which is why Carnival of Monsters is my number 37. My number 36 is Five Tribes. This is a game with a Mancala mechanism where you are picking up pieces on the board and then placing them out one by one, starting with an adjacent tile. And then wherever you place your last meeple, it has to have some matching friends there, and you will activate both the tile and the meeples themselves. I love the spatialness of this game where you have to kind of think about how far can these meeples get? Can I get to that one guy over there to activate that one tile that I want? And then, kind of backtracking and figuring out which pile of meeples on which tile will get you there. In this game, it is a point salad type game. You are getting points from the tiles themselves. You are buying things from a market and trying to get sets of unique items, which can really get you a lot of points. You are bringing in genies who can help you score points during the game, but also have their own points at the end of the game. You are claiming tiles. If you can clear off a tile with that last set of meeples that you place there, you get to claim it as yours, and that can give you some points. And I love having so many things in there coming together. I love, looking at a board and trying to think about, how to move things around to get to what I need and what I want. And so for all of those reasons, Five Tribes is my number 36. My number 35 is Patchwork. This is a two-player only polyomino placement game where you are drafting or purchasing tiles from this ring of tiles, and you can only purchase the first 3 from where you are. But it has that time mechanism where whoever is furthest behind on the time track gets the next turn. And so you can kind of plan ahead maybe to get a couple of turns in a row in order to get the tiles that you really want and keep them from your opponent, all the while trying to collect buttons on your board and fill it up as much as possible. This one, it's an oldie but a goodie, and I love it. I love the theme of patchwork and quilting. I'm a crafter, but I also just love the satisfaction of watching my board fill up as I go. So my number 35 is Patchwork. My number 34 is Newton. This is a game where you are selecting different actions based on cards that you play into your workbench. The strength of that depends on the symbol that you play and how many of those you already have in your workbench. The types of things you're going to be doing is moving your scientist around a map in order to visit different universities and ancient sites. You're going to do some work to get money. Your apprentices can learn things, or you can get books to add to your bookshelves. You can also get new cards, so there's a little bit of deck building involved in this. I was drawn in by the theme. I'm a scientist, what can I say? But the game isn't exactly dripping with the theme. I really enjoy the mechanisms, and so I came for the theme. I'm staying for the game. That is why Newton is my number 34. Number 33 is Doctor Who: Time of the Daleks. This is a dice chucking game where players take on different versions of the Doctor throughout time, trying to race with the Daleks against time as they are approaching Gallifrey. If one of the Doctors can get there first, they win. If the Daleks get there first, everybody loses. This is a game that's kind of reminiscent of Elder Sign, where you will go to a location and roll a handful of dice and then try and see if you can manipulate them in order to complete a task with the various die faces that you have in front of you. This combines both an IP that I love and dice chucking, which I love. And so it comes together as a super fun game to me. It's very long, so it doesn't get to the table very often. But when we do get it there, we just know that we're going to be there a while and enjoy the experience and pretend like we're the Doctor. So for those reasons, Doctor Who: Time of the Daleks is my number 33. My number 32 is Little Circuses. This is a game where you are playing out tiles into a little circus in front of yourself and then activating different tiles each turn. It's played in different rounds where you're visiting different cities, and each time when you activate a tile, it becomes unavailable until you reach the next city. And so as you're placing out your tiles, you're thinking ahead to, can I activate this one more than once? Am I going to be stuck in this corner so that I can't build something new and activate it? And so I really enjoy the gameplay of this. I also am in it for the theme. I love the theme of circuses. It's got really cute art, but again, came for the theme, stayed for the game. Little Circuses is my number 32. And rounding out this segment of my top 50 games is number 31, Marco Polo 2. This is a game where you are using dice as workers. So at the beginning of the round, everyone rolls their dice and then decide where you want to place them. As you're placing them out, you are trying to move your guys across the Silk Road in order to set up trading posts. But on those spots are also contracts that you can fulfill or additional worker placement spots where you can place your dice and get extra actions from what you would normally have. You are also trying to do trading to get different materials. This one, it has, again, it's so much there that I really enjoy it. No matter what you roll, there's always something you can do with those dice that's going to help your game and move you along. Plus, every player has a different character that they're playing, which has an ability that seems completely overpowered, but since everybody has an overpowered character, it evens itself out. And so for all of those reasons, Marco Polo 2 is my number 31. And so that's it for this segment of my list. Is there anything on this list that you absolutely love? Or maybe you disagree with me and don't think a game that should be on this list at all? Leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you about it. Otherwise, keep an eye out for the next segment of my top 50. You can like and subscribe to this channel so you know when those videos come out. And you can also find me on Instagram and Blue Sky, and I have a blog at newblephd.com. We'll see you next time.